Close up, a spoon cutting into a pint of ice cream. Looks rich, looks creamy. Looks like the real thing. Now watch this. That's not cream in that measuring cup. That's air. Whipped, pressurized, industrially injected air. And in some of the biggest ice cream brands in America, it makes up nearly half of what you paid for. Half. Air. Americans spend billions every year believing they're buying milk, creams, sugar, and vanilla. That's the deal they think they're making. But many of these brands quietly engineered a different product entirely. More air. Corn syrup instead of dairy. Gums and stabilizers instead of real richness. Flavor chemistry instead of actual vanilla. Same price. Dramatically cheaper to make. You're funding the difference. I spent weeks auditing 9 major brands on the shelf. Every ingredient panel. Every kitchen test. Stay until the end because the one brand still using a 5-ingredient old school recipe, it might actually cost you less than the engineered stuff. The skip list. Let's go brand by brand. These are the 6 brands I'm telling you to skip and exactly why. Skip number 1. Breyers. The label says natural vanilla. It shows farm imagery. It implies a long-standing tradition of family ice cream made the honest way. Flip the carton over. Many of Breyer's most popular products no longer legally qualify as traditional ice cream. They are labeled frozen dairy dessert. That is not a small footnote. That is the FDA telling you the formula did not pass the minimum dairy threshold. The ingredient list tells a different story than the packaging. Corn syrup, guar gum, cellulose gum, mono and diglycerides, carrageenan in certain formulations. These are not dairy ingredients. These are industrial texture solutions designed to recreate the feeling of cream without the cost of cream. The stabilizers do the job that the dairy ingredients used to do, so at a dramatically lower price per unit. You are paying for the farm imagery. You are not always getting the farm. Skip number 2, Blue Bunny. The branding leans into classic American dairy tradition. The reality is a formula that runs on multiple sweeteners and layered texture modifiers. Read the ingredient panel. High fructose corn syrup, guar gum, mono and diglycerides, and natural flavors. That is not one sweetener, that is 2, stacked on top of each other alongside an emulsifier system. Here is the corporate strategy in plain language. Corn syrup lowers ingredient costs while gum systems maintain the mouthfeel that real dairy used to provide organically. Consumers believe they are buying creamy, rich ice cream. What they are often buying is a heavily optimized formula that has been engineered for maximum profitability, not maximum quality. Skip number 3, Edie's and dryers. The marketing phrase that sells this brand is slow churn richness. Slow churned. It sounds artisanal. It sounds like someone in a kitchen taking their time. Read the fine print. The ingredient list includes whey, corn syrup, guar gum, cellulose gum, and mono and diglycerides. That is not a slow churn heritage recipe. That is an industrial food science solution delivered in packaging that implies craftsmanship. Slow churning in this context is a logistical magic trick. The process sounds premium, but the ingredients underneath the process are doing the heavy lifting. And those ingredients are chosen for cost efficiency, not culinary integrity. Skip number 4, Halo Top. This one requires a slightly different conversation. Halo Top is not trying to pretend it is traditional ice cream. The pitch is explicit. High protein, low calorie, guilt-free indulgence. But here's what the label actually contains. Erythritol, vegetable glycerin, prebiotic fibers, and a full stabilizer system. That is not ice cream. That is an engineered low-calorie frozen product that has been optimized to hit specific macronutrient numbers. The issue is not deception in the traditional sense. The issue is that millions of consumers reach for Halo Top expecting the satisfaction of real ice cream and receive something that was designed in a lab to approximate that experience at minimum caloric cost. If you want that trade-off, make it with full information. Just know exactly what you're buying. Skip number 5, great value. Big tubs, big savings. That is the entire value proposition. And sometimes a bargain is a bargain, but sometimes you are paying less because you are literally buying more air. The great value formula runs on corn syrup, whey, guar gum, cellulose gum, and mono and diglycerides. Large containers create a psychological perception of value. Higher overrun and ingredient substitutions reduce the manufacturing cost per unit significantly. The financial stake here is real. You might look at a large tub of great value ice cream and feel like you are getting more for less. In some cases, you are getting significantly more air for only slightly less money. The math does not always favor the consumer the way the packaging implies. Skip number 6, Turkey Hill, Pennsylvania dairy heritage. That is the brand story. Farmland imagery. A promise of simplicity rooted in a regional dairy tradition. Turn the carton around. Corn syrup, guar gum, cellulose gum, natural flavors, mono and diglycerides. The farm imagery suggests a straightforward product. The ingredient panel tells a completely different story. Natural flavors, in particular, is a phrase worth understanding. Under FDA labeling rules, natural flavors can include hundreds of different flavor compounds derived from natural sources but processed and concentrated in ways that have nothing to do with simply using the named ingredient. It is legal, it is common, and it is used specifically to reduce reliance on expensive primary ingredients. The kitchen test. Before we get to the brands worth buying, here is how to audit any carton yourself. Standing in the freezer aisle in under 60 seconds. Test 1, the weight test. Pick up 2 pints of similar size. The heavier carton usually contains more dairy dairy and less air. Dense, high-fat ice cream physically weighs more because it is made of actual ingredients. That weight in your hand is real cream. The lighter carton is often filled with air you cannot see, and stabilizers doing the work that dairy used to do. Test 2, the ingredient test. Read the first 3 ingredients. Real ice cream typically opens with milk, cream, and sugar. Those are your green flags. If you immediately see corn syrup, cellulose gum, gar gum, carrageenan, or multiple emulsifiers in the first handful of ingredients, you are looking at a heavily engineered formula regardless of what the front of the carton is telling you. Test 3, the melt test. Run this one at home. Place 1 scoop on a plate and let it sit at room temperature. Real ice cream softens gradually into a creamy puddle. Highly stabilized products often hold their shape unusually long, then separate into a foamy or gummy residue rather than a clean liquid pool. What you're watching is food engineering at work. The stabilizers are doing exactly what they were designed to do. Hold a structure that real dairy cannot maintain at that air to cream ratio. The real list. Now for the brands that are actually doing it right. Real brand number 1, Haagen-Dazs. Reuben Mattis founded this company in the Bronx with a single clear mission: make extraordinarily rich ice cream using as few ingredients as possible. That founding philosophy is still visible in the formula today. The vanilla ingredient list is typically cream, skim milk, sugar, egg yolks, and vanilla extract. 5 ingredients. No gums, no corn syrup, no stabilizer systems, no texture tricks. This is more expensive per pint. I am not going to pretend otherwise, but you are buying dense, real dairy, not a carton partially filled with pressurized air. When you account for the actual amount of cream per serving, the price per quality calculation shifts significantly in Haagen-Dazs's favor. Real brand number 2, Van Leeuwen. This brand started from a yellow scoop truck on the streets of New York City and built its reputation around simple French-style recipes with ingredient lists that a home cook would recognize. Many of their flavors run on milk, cream, sugar, and egg yolks. The richness in Van Leeuwen comes from the fat content of the ingredients, not from a stabilizer system recreating the sensation of fat. The pricing is at the premium end, but the ingredient list is exceptionally short. You are paying for what you are actually eating. Real brand number 3, McConnell's Fine Ice Creams. Making ice cream since 1949. McConnell's built its entire identity around refusing many of the shortcuts the mainstream industry has adopted over the decades. Many of their varieties avoid the gum systems entirely and use high butterfat formulations that deliver richness the way dairy is supposed to deliver it. It costs more upfront, but it serves dense, concentrated ice cream where a smaller portion actually satisfies. The surprise winner. After auditing ingredient panels across the entire industry, one brand consistently stands out above the rest for combining accessibility, availability, and formula integrity. Haagen-Dazs wins. Not because of marketing, not because of brand story, because the ingredient panel still behaves like traditional ice cream. Few ingredients. Dense texture, no unnecessary gums, no corn syrup, no texture tricks designed to imitate dairy while reducing dairy costs. Just actual ice cream, made the way ice cream was made before the texture engineers arrived. The lesson here is not that every stabilizer is going to harm you. The lesson is that many of the most recognizable, most trusted ice cream brands in America have quietly transformed their product into an exercise in cost optimization. More air, cheaper sweeteners, texture chemistry, and sophisticated marketing designed to make you feel like you're buying something you're not. The next time you're standing in that freezer aisle, remember 3 things. The heaviest pint usually wins. The shortest ingredient list almost always wins. In the carton that is screaming the loudest about indulgence and richness and tradition may be delivering the least actual cream of everything on that shelf. Your money is real. Your health is real. Neither one of those things is a commodity for these corporations to optimize on your behalf. The food tells a story. The ingredients tell the truth. I'm the Buyer Beware team. Subscribe because you have the right to know what you are actually buying. New episode every week.